As the world turns, Cody, the Texas football recruiting in 2026 it's been up and down ever since the last time you and I spoke here on the Orange Bloods Live channel. Thanks so much to Man Eye Institute for being our great presenting sponsor here. Remember, see life better at Man Eye Institute, 1-844-WOW 2020, 844-WOW 2020. Thanks to Man Eye Institute for being a presenting sponsor here. And Cody, since I've been gone for the 4th of July, we've seen Felix Ojo now go to Texas Tech, of all places. We've seen Texas miss out on Jalen Lott. We've seen Texas miss out on Rouse yesterday. And but they did land John Turntine. So obviously big news there. Let me just say this about Felix Ojo before we even get started with what I wanted to talk about. It has to do with some predictions from some of these rivals analysts about some of the remaining players that are of Texas interest.
I think Texas is going to get one.
And they're okay.
They might get a commit.
Okay. Here's my thing about, and
I know the roof is caving in, the ceiling's caving in on us, but
I'm not sure if you read this. So about Felix Ojo's commitment, his agent was talking about how he got $5.1 million over 3 years. That would be an average of $1.7 million per year. But then it was so interesting that as I was flying home, I saw some of the rebuttals from the Texas Tech side saying like, well, that's not really true. It's $775K that's guaranteed as part of the revenue sharing. But here's the other thing. And if something along the lines in the contract says something along the lines of, if this stays the Wild West and this continues staying as unregulated as it is, we're going to have an extra like $1 million a year on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like all that's really locked into him is like a $750K per year kind of deal. It's almost like if the things do get in line here with the revenue sharing and teams do have to abide by it, and there is some sort of enforcement mechanism, some sort of enforcement arm, that it could be that he's just getting what he would have gotten at Texas anyway.
Well, that's the thing is like, Ketch has said it a million times. That's the Brandon Baker money. 770,000 is the Brandon Baker money. And according to Tech, like you said, it's a verbal agreement that can escalate the total value of the contract to the $5 million range if there's a large jump in revenue sharing cap for schools, or if there's a minimal regulation of schools. And
if there's a minimal regulation, it's basically saying if they don't regulate this very much, like, we're going to pay you. It's a wild pitch. I can't believe it worked.
That's the art of having, I don't know who his agent is, but potentially not a Drew Rosenhaus in the conversation, I would say.
Well,
or Mulligata in the conversation.
It's James Blanchard who's
that's not his agent there
who came out. No, but James Blanchard was JKB on the message boards, dude. I mean,
he does all the money stuff for them.
Like, I know, but I'm saying, like, he came up with a maniacally wild way to do this, along with this guy Cody Campbell, to say like, hey man, like, we're gonna get you this extra money if this isn't quite as regulated. Just super wild. I just got to thinking, I'm like, man, it's if Texas wanted him, they probably could have offered him something similar to that with the cockamamie addendum that's part of just a verbal agreement that's not even signed. Anyway, look, so with missing on Rouse, we kind of thought yesterday that was going to. I mean, we already had production in the can to go live if Rouse were to have committed to Texas. Of course, he goes to Tennessee. Texas misses on Jalen Lott. And I'm sitting here like, okay, well, Texas has had all these recent misses, but at least we have Jamari and Carlton coming up pretty soon. Surely that's going to be to Texas. But I read today in the column that you aggregated over at Orange Bloods from some of the rivals guys that they're all saying that now Jamari and Carlton's going to Baylor.
Yeah, same situation. Same situation. This is the last couple of weeks has been Texas, and then the Texas Tech thing happened last week with Ojo, and Carlton tweets out some graphic of him in a Texas Tech shirt. Whoa, what is that?
Look at that. Alex and Cody's new custom elite spice blend, Alpha Seasoning. Go to alphaseasoning.com, man. You guys got to check it out, dude. It's a world-changing new spice that Cody and I have been working on. We've been teasing this thing for months and months. It's taken a long time to put together, get our co-packers together, make sure we have all the exact ingredients that we want to make this spice perfect for you guys. It is now live. It's ready to go. alphaseasoning.com. Go get the Alpha. It's the most elite custom spice blend you've ever had. The taste profile is amazing. It goes good on anything. I love it on
Everything.
chicken. I mean, I love it on chicken wings. I love it on eggs. I love it
Hard
on
boiled egg,
steaks. I love it on burgers. It's
salmon.
yeah, it's just really it's great on everything. Alphaseasoning.com. Go to alphaseasoning.com and the QR code is right there. You'll also be supporting your boys. There's no better way to support the show than to go see our great sponsors like the Man Eye Institute, Texas Beef Traders, Poncho Outdoors. But this is our company, man. Like this is something that we've created. So alphaseasoning.com. All right. So Carlton, where are you with this?
Carlton and Baylor. Texas Tech thing, flamed up on Friday when Ojo committed. Ojo tweeted back at him, let's change the sport, et cetera, et cetera. Baylor, of course, up the street from Temple, which is where Jamarian Carlton's from, in Waco. They've kind of come upon the last 48 hours, maybe. Interesting quote yesterday. I want to talk about a lot more of this NIL stuff tomorrow, maybe on tomorrow's show that came out of Big 12 Media Days. There's more coaches talking today at Big 12 Media Days. Not that anybody actually pays attention to that event, but there's some nice quotes that came out. From Dave Aranda, though, the Baylor coach, he said, in pertaining to front-loaded contracts, when you front-load contracts, that gives you the ability to have money in the rev share this year to make big-time payments and close out players, says Baylor coach Dave Aranda. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's a fair amount in our league that did it. There's a fair amount in our league that did it, and there are a couple of schools here today that have done it, obviously insinuating that Texas Tech is one of those. I would also assume if Baylor lands at Jamarian Carlton, they will probably be front-loading a contract to get him.
Yeah, well, how much of this is staying close to home and stuff? And I wonder.
Well, I wrote it on the board, but dude, it's literally an hour difference between driving from Temple to Waco to Temple to Austin. I mean, this isn't.
I think Temple. It feels to me like Temple is a lot closer to Waco than it is to Austin. Is it really halfway?
Temple to Waco is okay.
I've made this drive a million times. Temple's closer to. Once you get to Temple, you feel like you're getting pretty close to Waco.
Temple is 35 minutes to Waco.
Yeah, and
Temple to Austin is. Why does it keep going Temple? Every time I type in Temple, it goes to Temple University, which is in Philly. Temple, Texas to Austin, Texas. Come on now.
It's got to be closer to 50.
Hour 11.
Yeah. So
it's not that big of a difference.
It's like, this is like it takes me an hour 11 to get to DKR from my house.
Like think about the Ojo thing. Ojo's from crap.
Ojo's from Mansfield something. What, right?
So he goes from Mansfield to Austin. That's 3 hours. Mansfield to Lubbock, 5 hours. Like that's a much bigger, if we weren't talking about distance, like it's in the state of Texas. Like you're coming down 35 regardless. You're either going north on 35 from Temple or you're going south. That's what it is.
For Carlton. With Felix Ojo, it's going north of 5 million as far as he's concerned.
Well, yeah, Fugay's million. But like that's what I'm saying. Like with Carlton, it's literally like, yeah, I'm either gonna head north or I'm gonna head south.
Any good news as far as this?
Some good news that I think's interesting is Samari Matthews, the corner from just up the street from me, Williams Amos in North Carolina. Samari Matthews been back and forth, Texas, South Carolina, Texas, South Carolina. It's just these two. Miami and Florida State are listed here as well. Chad Simmons, Steve Wiltfong, Adam Gorney, and Spiegelman all didn't put in predictions on the site, on the player page, but they did in this column say Texas. Spiegelman said, right now, I like the pick as Texas. Gorney said South Carolina has done everything right in the Matthews recruitment, and he loves the Gamecocks, but Texas has surged in over the last couple of visits. Wiltfong said Texas grabbed the momentum with a terrific visit for Matthews back in the spring and the summer official. And Chad Simmons says there's still some optimism at South Carolina, but I like the Longhorns position a couple days away. He commits on Friday, the 11th.
I think Smoke is an awesome player, awesome kid. I think he would be a great addition. It's just so wild to me that after all this time, we talk about this kind of this rash of, commitments that have kind of gone through, even going even going back to even before the 4th of July was just some of these guys that, if you had told me beforehand, it's like, well, Texas is probably going to miss on, Rouse and Lott and Jamari and Carlton and all the rest of them. But at the very end of this, they're going to get this kid out of South Carolina, Samari Matthews. It's just, it wasn't what we expected at all. But at this point, it just, at this point, it is what it is. Are you? You don't seem too concerned about the Carlton thing. And how much of it do you think, just before we get out of here, how much of it has to do with Richard Wesley? Do you think that any part of this has to do with Richard Wesley and
No.
elevated competition within
I
the
think the Bryce Perry Wright thing had a little more to do with the Wesley side of things. His commitment last week to A&M. Carlton, I think, is your peer edge rusher that's going to come in and sit behind Simmons for a year. That's where I kind of view him as. So I don't think that the Wesley thing has anything to do with that. And I'm relaxed. I know there's a couple other shows on the channel. I know they have the recruiting hour. I know Jason went on with Anwar. Everyone's talking about this is different than last year. This is different than the last 2 years. And I'll just keep on bumping my tweet, keep on bumping my column from last week, explaining all of the guys that we talked about on the show that have signed the last couple of years in November and in December. It doesn't matter. It's July 9th. Football's 50 days away and signing day's over 100.
But
Texas will finish in the top 10 and would it shock you at all, Alex, if they finished out December with Carlton and Cooper on the recruiting class?
No, not at all. Not at all. And you're underselling it about football, how far it is away. We're only 20 days from fall camp starting. We're less than 5 to 4 days until we leave for SEC Media Days, and we're gonna have all that stuff covered for you right here on Orange Bloods Live. Please remember to like the show, subscribe to the channel. Please remember that Man Eye Institute is the reason why the show continues here in the 2025 season and for coverage of 2026 recruiting, 2027 recruiting, and beyond. So make sure and check them out. The Man Eye Institute, 1844 Wow 2020, and of course, man, support your boys, man, and get the most delicious seasoning on the market, alphaseasoning.com. We'll be back. Hey, we got big news tomorrow. At least, look, one thing we know for sure is that we're going to have something to talk about.